Today is a special day because it is the launch of the Preferential Trade under the AfCFTA Guided Trade Initiative, GTI. The launch, which is being coordinated by the Nigeria AfCFTA Coordination Office on behalf of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as well as the AfCFTA Secretariat, is in line with the vision of Africa's founding fathers to unite the continent in one shared prosperity and renewed hope agenda of the present administration. The national coordinator, Mr. Segun Awolowo, Nigeria AfCFTA, his office is hosting this launch in Apapa Port in Lagos. Mr. Awolowo notes that the key objectives are to demonstrate and showcase Nigeria's trading under the AfCFTA and that businesses in Africa can take advantage of the GTI to trade, as well as the processes through which the AfCFTA can be effectively engaged. The Minister of Trade, Ms. Doris Anete, who is there at that event, even as we speak, identifies this as a watershed moment for Nigeria. And she says she's thrilled to witness the birth, congratulates the first companies that will trade under this initiative, and they include Dangote, Catstell Solutions, the General, Flour Mills, and a whole lot of them. Well, we're staying on that now. We know that Nigeria signed the AfCFTA agreement in July 2019, becoming the 34th Africa state to be a party to that, with a robust economy across different industries. Now, we've seen other countries participate in this. We've been talking about Nigeria's readiness and preparedness for this. Well, let's discuss this with Dr. Bamidele Ayemibo. He's the Chief Executive Officer and Lead Consultant of Free Tea Impex Trade Academy. Dr. Ayemibo, good afternoon. Should I say congratulations?
Yes, congratulations indeed. Good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, great. So, I mean, first, tell us, why is this called Preferential AfCFTA? We know that some other countries have already tapped into this platform and are already trading, some African countries. I think Ghana is even in that list. But why is this now launched today and called Preferential AfCFTA?
All right. So because the agreement has been signed for many years now, the AfCFTA Secretariat in Ghana had to start an initiative. They call it Guided Trade Initiative. And the idea is to see how do we begin to trade on the AfCFTA in such a manner that we can begin to identify the bottleneck and the issues with the protocol vis-a-vis the law and regulation of different countries, so as to be able to begin to fix it in such a manner that when we have a lot of other business coming on board, we don't have hiccups in the process. This started for over a year now. The first trade was done between Kenya and Ghana. I think it was excise that was shipped, and a number of other countries have come on board, and we've been waiting eagerly, looking for when Nigeria is going to do its own. And now we are doing it's preferential because, of course, it's a free trade agreement with preferential treatment for different products. Not all products will be traded under the AfCFTA, of course, obviously, but at least 90% of goods based on the agreement are going to be fully liberalized. But we still have others that are partially liberalized, and those that will not even be allowed at all will still retain their tariff based on the agreement. But all these are allowed for countries and regional section in Africa, like West Africa, in Africa, for example, to determine what will be allowed and what will not be allowed.
So tell us what will be allowed, what will not be allowed, the tariffs. Tell us what makes this different. Those tariffs you talked about, what is out of the window and what is in trading on this preferential platform?
Okay, so we currently have the common external tariff in West Africa that allow trade to be done in West Africa, either ECOWAS, and that's what has been adopted within the ECOWAS region to be allowed for trading. So what this means is that we have 90%. Now, if for individuals that want to check what is allowed for each country, AfCFTA already have a website for that, that you can Google it to be able to get the information that if I'm shipping to Kenya, for example, I can easily identify what will be allowed duty-free into Kenya and what will not be allowed duty-free into Kenya. That way I know if my product is eligible for free trade agreement within Kenya or not.
So we see fresh set of companies there, and it's the big guys. Do the small companies have any share in this?
That's the challenge, actually. We talk a lot about SME, the SME, the engine room of the economy. But most of the time when we want to do things like this, I would have loved us to showcase small businesses that are able to also meet these criteria. I'm hoping they will, because one of the challenges is that the challenge of export readiness for a number of SME in Nigeria. So I understand the reason why the government will go for the big guys, because they know, okay, these businesses are pretty much ready. In fact, some of them are already shipping to these locations, only that they were not shipping under the free trade agreement. But now those shipments will now be done under the free trade agreement to enable to enjoy duty-free in all these locations.
So, the payment system has been a hurdle for a while. And I know there was the introduction of PAPS. How's that going? How active and helpful will that be, after this launch?
Yeah, PAPS is the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. And the objective is, it was discovered that $5 billion is being paid in fees by different banks in Africa for remittances abroad. And in the bid to stop that and to prevent sabotage, of course, because now the money have to go through New York or go through UK or go through different countries if we have to be using their currency for settlement. That's what led to the initiative, championed by AfCFTA, of course, in partnership with the AfCFTA Secretariat, to launch the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. Now, that enables me to ship to South Africa. I can ship to South Africa. South African buyer will pay in rand, and I will get Naira in Nigeria. That is on already. A number of Nigerian banks have keyed into it. A number of African countries have started. So that's on, but not all African countries are on board already. But the idea is to ensure that it doesn't stop me from still doing dollar, euro, or pounds transaction under the AfCFTA. But it allows me to have an option to be able to pay someone else outside of Nigeria, in other parts of Africa, to be able to pay in my local currency. Now, what this means is that if I'm an importer, I'm currently having challenge with Forex, and the item I need, maybe my raw material as a manufacturer, I can source it efficiently in some part of Africa. What that means is that I might not be able to pay in Naira, rather than going to source for Forex to be able to pay. And that means a number of businesses that will be able to source their raw material in Africa might need to rework their supply chain in such a manner to be able to source in Africa and be able to avoid the pressure they are having right now to be able to source dollar for the payment. So it's not just me exporting, being able to get Naira payment. It also helps the importer. I think PAP is even a lot good for importers in Nigeria to be able to pay in Naira rather than paying in FX.
So, Mr. Ayemi, but I do know that you are very active in especially the non-oil trading space. So, because sometimes these things are so beautiful to hear. We've been talking about PAPs for how many years now? But in reality, do you really see businesses, especially at least even not the small, the medium-scale businesses, tapping into this platform and being able to actually trade on the continent?
Very important question. Very, very important question you asked there. Do you know that ETLS in ECOWAS has been on for over 30 years? And quite frankly, there are businesses in Nigeria that are not even aware of ETLS. One major challenge, not just in Nigeria, even in Europe, in Asia, that is hindering the full utilization of free trade agreement in different parts of the world is awareness, publicity about the agreement. Number one. Number two is information about how do I benefit from it? How do I benefit from it? How do I obtain the certificate of origin that enable me to be able to get this access to free trade in countries I'm trading with? Now, this information are not readily available. Now, if we are going to be able to get the SME to partake in this, then from the Federal Ministry of Trade to Nigerian Promotion Council to National Action Committee on AfCFTA, they must take it very seriously. You know the way they publicize when there is presidential election or government election, that you will know all the frontline candidates because of the publicity. That is the kind of publicity we need to give to AfCFTA, because it's only when business are aware that they will now begin to search for information on how to utilize it. Else, we might be going again the same way ETLS has done. I hope that will not be the case, because then that would be very, very bad for Nigeria, because a lot of African countries are already tapping into this.
Well, I do hope so, Dr. Amibo. And well, I guess we can also take, as the media, take part of that responsibility to say we'll keep this on the front burner. But, you know, sometimes the challenge is you call the people, for instance, the Minister of Trade is there, Mr. Shegun Awolowo, obviously the coordinator. How many times have you seen him on, you know, media, especially television, to publicize some of these things? But we'll stay on it. But thank you so much. And we say congratulations again, you know, for this launch. Hopefully, we will see the fruit of it. Dr. Bamidele Ayemibo, the CEO and lead consultant of 3T Impex Trade.
Thank you very much for having me, and bye-bye.
Bye.